I'd like to call on Attorney Brian Hosaka, Chief of the Public Information Office, to introduce the Chief Justice.
Chief Justice Chief Justice Diosdado M. Peralta, Court Administrator Jose Maidas P. Marquez, members of the Justice Beat, composed of the Justice Reporters Organization, or JUROR, and Justice and Court Reporters Association, or JUCRA, and to all viewers watching online through the internet. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I thank you all for joining us in this media event presented by the Supreme Court Public Information Office entitled CJ Meets the Press Online, Moving Justice Beyond the Pandemic. This is the first time that an event such as this will be done online, so please bear with us should we experience some technical difficulties. Last December 2019, the COVID-19 virus outbreak started in Wuhan, China. It rapidly spread across the globe, and on January 30, 2020, the virus reached the Philippines. On March 7, 2020, the first local transmission in the Philippines was confirmed. With the cases of infection worldwide rapidly escalating, the World Health Organization on March 11, 2020, declared a COVID-19 global pandemic. At that time, the WHO reported that the number of cases outside China had increased 13-fold, and the number of affected countries had tripled in only 2 weeks. According to the WHO, as of March 11, 2020, a total of 101 cases, and 4,583 deaths worldwide were recorded. However, as of June 9, 2020, the number of infection globally had ballooned to more than 7 million cases, with more than 400,000 deaths. In the Philippines, since March 11, 2020, where there were only 49 cases and a single casualty reported, the COVID-19 infection has alarmingly increased and has now reached more than 23,000 cases with more than 1,000 deaths. Immediately after the WHO declared a global pandemic, it did not take long for the judiciary, led by Chief Justice Peralta, to immediately act in order to safeguard the health of its justices, judges, personnel, lawyers, and litigants, particularly persons deprived of liberty, or PDLs. The Chief Justice, however, made sure that the wheels of justice will not halt. From March 12, 2020 up to this date, Chief Justice Peralta had issued a total of 20 administrative circulars and memos, each circular and memo addressing a particular concern or issue brought about by the global pandemic, as well as the lockdown imposed by the government as a measure to curb the spread of the virus in our country. For those who may not be familiar with the Chief Justice, he is a stickler for rules, and for him, rules are made to be followed. However, during this health crisis, I saw how his expertise and knowledge in procedural law, or what we call rules of court, coupled with his vast experience in trial proceedings as a former prosecutor and judge, help him adroitly craft solutions to problems and concerns of our magistrates, lawyers, litigants, and PDLs. What the Chief Justice did was no small feat, for his solution had to be within the bounds of our procedural laws, which did not cease to remain effective despite the dire crisis we were all facing. Hence, the solutions could not have been as simple as some might have perceived, including even legal experts. I will no longer delve into the details of the orders, circulars, and memos of the Chief Justice, for he is the best person to explain and discuss them. So without further delay, I would like to introduce you to the 26th Chief Justice of the Philippines, Chief Justice Diosdado Madarang Peralta.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Attorney Brian Osaka. Members of the Justice and Court Reporters Association, or the JOCRA, members of the Justice Reporters Organization, or JURUR, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It feels a bit peculiar to be addressing you in this manner. Just last year, we had our first meet and greet at the SC Training Center shortly after my appointment as the 26th Chief Justice. I would have wanted a similar setup for this year, but then COVID-19 happened. While this virulent virus has slowed down or even put to a halt global commerce, every government worldwide unceasingly and tirelessly worked as they struggled to get ahead of this disease. The judiciary is no exception. Thanks to technology, it allowed me and the other members of the court to discuss important matters while strictly observing physical distancing. Admittedly, I am not a techie person, and so I had to catch up and familiarize myself with those so-called online meetings and other innovations. Marunong na akong mag-Zoom. I and the other justices rack our brains to come up with creative and effective schemes to ensure that the wheels of justice will continue grinding without putting at risk the lives of employees, lawyers, and the public. And so I issued several administrative circulars to keep the judiciary functioning even before the start of the lockdown. All these COVID-related circulars, orders, and issuances have been timely uploaded by the court's Public Information Office to the SC website for the information of everyone. Early on in March, I issued Memorandum Order 25-2020, detailing guidelines in the workplace as a precautionary measure to avoid the spread of COVID. I even created a task force chaired by the court administrator to come up with additional measures to minimize the rising threat of COVID. The court has several other issuances to address the health scare in the workplace. When the government eventually placed the National Capital Region and the whole of Luzon under Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ, I issued Administrative Circular number 32-2020, ordering the physical closure of all courts nationwide due to the unabated rise of COVID-19. But while the courts were physically closed, judicial service continued as we opened hotlines and published email addresses where litigants, lawyers, prosecutors, and the general public may reach us. For urgent matters, I instructed all justices or judges on duty, together with the skeleton staff, to go to the court to immediately act on them. Subsequently, upon consultation with the members of the court, I issued Administrative Circular number 33-2020, allowing the online filing of complaint or information and posting of bail of detention prisoners. This enabled the courts to digitally act on the matters, thereby reducing the necessity of the judge, the court staff, lawyers, and litigants to physically travel to their stations. Even with the lockdown, I work from home, making sure that I closely monitor the situation of the courts throughout the country. I continuously work even when I had symptoms of the disease. As I had previously disclosed, I went on official business to The Hague, Netherlands in the first week of March to attend the Hague Conference on Private International Law, General Affairs, and Policymaking. There were already reported COVID cases in Europe. Then during my travel, fortunately, I tested negative of the disease. As the government lockdown was extended several times, I had to issue circulars to guarantee that judicial service will not be disrupted. I also directed all justices and judges to continue drafting decisions and orders, which decisions and orders shall be promulgated or issued once the courts are fully operational. On April 27, I issued Administrative Circular number 37-2020, ordering the pilot testing of hearings of criminal cases involving persons deprived of liberty or PDLs through video conferencing in court stations identified by the Office of the Court Administrator. Let me underscore though, that as early as June last year, the court had already approved the guidelines on the use of video conferencing technology for the remote appearance and testimony of certain persons deprived of liberty, or PDLs, in jails and national penitentiaries. These guidelines were implemented and pilot tested in September 2019 in Davao City courts. The virtual hearings were initially limited to 22 courts.